Hey everybody, Jim Gonzalez here, EDI Support. It's another wonderful Wednesday here in Pennsylvania. We had a little bit of snow that has happened. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm hoping it's the last snow that we have so that we can move forward with getting warm, but the sun's out. That's a good thing. So this week, what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart. Just because if you're out there and you're looking amongst the EDI community, a lot of people don't share or are not broadcasting their EDI implementation costs. You know, the fees, the pricing, all of those type of things. They don't make it easy for you to figure out, what's this going to cost me? You know, what's it going to cost me to migrate from one system to another system? Or what's it going to cost me if I'm just getting into EDI? What are these things going to cost me? Pricing is big, especially if you're a smaller organization, but even in the larger enterprise organizations. So small, medium to large, everybody's concerned of what's it going to cost, how long is it going to take, all of those things. So we have something very cool to show you as long as you stay through the whole session. So hopefully you do stay through the whole session. And at the end, we got something to show you that I'm very proud about. Anyway, so this week we're talking about crunching numbers, understanding EDI implementation costs. With that, you know, there's different models of EDI pricing amongst and in the industry. Way back when I got into this 26 years ago, the cloud wasn't there, you know, so everything was on-prem, sitting in a physical server or workstation or however you want to look at it. Okay. So that was considered a licensing cost, or almost like a renter's fee, a lease fee, because some software they could disable it after a year, and then you'd have to get another key and all that fun stuff. But for the most part, anymore, stuff that I run across is going to be licensed. So licensed for a particular server, whether that server's virtual, physical, however you want to look at it. So you pay a one-time fee, and then you pay typically an annual maintenance or annual subscription to get support, to get updates, to get all those type of things. Okay. So when I say licensing, that's what I'm referring to. One-time cost, you're buying the software, you install it on a server or a workstation, whatever one type of application you're using. And then you have usually a yearly after that maintenance cost or support or however they word it. Okay. Then you also have subscription-based pricing. So subscription-based pricing basically means you're subscribed as long as you pay. So in that subscription-based pricing, it may be modeled off of how many documents. It may be modeled on how many kilocharacters, as they call it, or bytes of information that are processing through it. Or it may be licensed based on number of trading partners or systems you're interacting with or features and functions that you're doing. There's so many things and variances in subscription pricing. You have to know what pieces fit in there, what pieces to ask about. Ask them, if I pay this price, does that cover everything? Everything and anything I can run across in EDI, API, and integration? And you'll find out the answer. Typically, they're not just doing that, where it's based on just trading partners or based on just transaction volume or just based on number of kilocharacters. So you have to really weed through and figure out what's going on there when you're dealing with the subscription-based pricing. Okay. And each of those pricings have pros and cons, the way that I look at them. When you're dealing in a license-based software, well, somebody's going to have to maintain the server. Now, you could use a cloud operation like AWS, Azure, whatever, but if you have a physical server, somebody has to maintain that physical server, whether they're in-house, out-house, doesn't really matter. Okay, so outsourced, in-house, doesn't matter. Somebody needs to maintain it. It's the same thing with Azure and AWS. Yes, to you, they're virtual, but on the back end, at those organizations, somebody's maintaining those servers to make sure that they're up and running, make sure that they're being backed up, make sure that they're doing all those things. Okay. So license-based, you pay the one-time fee, you own the software. It's usually a long-term cost that you can factor in. So you pay that big upfront fee, and then you pay your percentage on a yearly basis. And you ask them how often or what can that license increase on the maintenance and that kind of stuff. And with licensed software, there's sometimes there's some customization to meet specific business needs. So licensed software was big. It was out there. Everybody used licensed software. So here's Kurt giving us a little insight I've seen per trading partner used for smaller companies. They may have only 1 or 2 clients that require that EDI transaction. I have seen actually enterprise level clients that use that model too, because they make out. They have 1 or 2 major trading partners, and guess what? They're pushing hundreds of thousands of documents a month through those 2 relationships. You'll see that a lot. And you see that actually, I've seen that segment happen in transportation. I've also seen it in retail. I've also seen it in healthcare. So don't always say that it can be just a small company. Just my 2 cents from what I've seen out there. So license-based used to be abundant. Now there's a lot less that's in the market space because of, guess what, the cloud. So the cons with it is you have an upfront cost, which is usually going to be on the higher side. It doesn't always have to be on the higher side, but typically from what I see for the small to medium to large, that typical buy-in of a license is $20,000 or above. Depends on how many servers, depends on what all you needed to do, but a single server, single license, 2 CPUs, whatever, typically that buy-in that I see people for a full encompassing MFT translation, all of that is going to be basically around 18,000, 20,000 and go up from there. But you're not limited on trading partners. Usually you're not limited on the number of transactions you can put through it. You're not limited on those type of things, but you will need your licensing for the backend. So whether that's, Oracle, SQL, MongoDB, doesn't really matter what it is. You'll need that backend to run that licensed software. So upfront cost could be a con. Maintenance expenses to keep the servers running and handled and all of those things. Scalability challenges. So some of those different licensed software, you can't add on multiple licenses and tier them together for performance issues and all of those type of things. So just understand license can have some issues, but not always. Now, subscription-based. Usually it's a lower initial investment because now you're essentially leasing or renting that software. You stop paying your bill, you have no longer access. It's as simple as that. You have predictable expenses when it comes to what you're needing and your fixed fees and all those things. Unless that changes, your pricing really shouldn't change unless in your contract, got to read the fine print, it says that there's a yearly increase up to a certain percentage, typically in those terms. Make sure you read that. Make sure you understand what it's talking about when you're getting into that. Scalability is usually a lot easier. So it's a pro when we're looking at these systems because you're working off of, on the back end, just understand that some of these subscriptions, everybody's using the same platform. Also, I've seen where they enable you to have your own server. So you are paying a subscription, but they're enabling you to have your own server. So if you need to increase it or anything like that, think of AWS, Azure, cloud server growth. A lot of times it's easier to increase the volume, increase the CPUs, increase the data processing abilities, all those things. The cons, now you're dependent on a provider. Again, if you don't pay, you no longer have your EDI service. It's as easy as that. A lot of systems that are in the cloud, not all, but a lot of service providers that are SaaS modeled, not typically the iPaaS, but that are SaaS modeled, they can limit your processing power. They can limit the file size that you can process through their system. So you have to understand what are their limitations. And they should be clear on that so that you can expect to grow. Because again, remember, as I always say, you don't know where you are 6 months, a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. So if you put an EDI system in place that's in the cloud, that's hosted and handled by somebody else, and it doesn't have scalability, or it has restrictions on file sizes, and it has all of those things, you can run into that glass ceiling. And replacing an EDI product with another product isn't just a pull it out and stick the other one on. Like, it's not just a light switch. I don't care what the EDI provider out there tells you, and I don't care how quick they tell you, oh, well, we can get you up and running with trading partners like that. That's great. It's out the box. It's not built for you. It's off the shelf. Think about that. Off the shelf. That means you're doing a process that everybody else does because that's what they've built. That's how they've made it so quick to come to market in anything that exists for the most part right now. It's just being honest with you. So you have to make sure, check your implementation costs that are going on, whether you're looking at license or you're looking at your subscription. Make sure that check the hidden costs. Do you need an EDI mailbox? Well, that's an extra fee. Data mapping, document translation, compliances. Some providers may charge additional fees for data mapping services or for ongoing maintenance or support of data translation maps. These fees can add up over time and should be factored in. And are you having to manage the project? Are you having to manage support? An issue occurs, do you reach out to support, or is support already aware of it and already looking at it? If it's license-based, it's on you or whoever you're using to help take care of it and facilitate things and maybe manage it on a monthly or daily basis. If it's on them and it's subscription-based, make sure who's looking into these things, who's talking to your trading partners, who's doing all of that. How do you make an informed decision about selecting the right EDI solution for your needs based on pricing? This will also answer your question on which factors are often overlooked when comparing EDI pricing models. So you have to identify your requirements. If you're not able to identify your requirements, find a consultant, find a support entity that can help lead you down the way of figuring out, do you go license? Do you not go license? What's your tech stack look like? Does subscription make sense? Who are you evaluating when it comes to subscription? Who are you evaluating when it comes to licensing? All of those things, because the people that have been doing this for a long time, like myself, we get to basically know the ins and outs of these different providers, different softwares, all those type of things. Typically, when you are a true consultant in the EDI space, we're not just focused on one particular client or one particular company. That's at least here at EDI Support LLC. Can't tell you what others are doing, or I know what most of them are doing if you bring up a particular company. So evaluate the pricing models, look at the different providers, look at what they offer, look what's out there. Compare the different costs, request quotes from multiple of those providers. I always say, do your due diligence. Even if you're looking to work with EDI support, do your due diligence. There's no harm in that. I don't want you to work with us if you don't think we are the right fit, just like your EDI software. If you don't feel license-based makes sense for you, don't go down that route. Or if you're in license-based and your company's starting to move to the cloud and move all these things, why wouldn't you move to the cloud? Look at your tech stack. Look at the things that are out there. As you said, Craig, you often say, only sign a one-year contract and allow the service provider the opportunity to earn your business for the following year. Yes, all day long, Craig. What is the contract period that is typically presented to a client up front? 3 years. Typically, I'm seeing 3 years amongst the various organizations, various companies. They love to get you to sign 3 years to 5 years. Well, guess what? 3 years to 5 years. I don't know what kind of business they're going to have. I don't know if it's going to be the exact same company. I don't know if they're going to be purchased by a private equity firm or if they're going to be purchased by another EDI provider. What if that happens? Then what are you doing? Now, all of a sudden, That provider that you evaluated that you didn't like now owns the company that you're working for, or the company I'm not working for, utilizing. So now what are you going to do? You're going to scramble and you're going to worry. So you have to consider your total cost of ownership. What are the direct costs? What are the costs you're not factoring in? Project management. Who's going to maintain it? Who's going to support it? How is the upgrading going to work? Can I scale the solution? What's the implementation and setup costs? What are all those things that tell me about the cost of solution? Most people can't factor in or figure out kilocharacter costs. So every document in EDI has an average range of how much, or the file size of what you'll see. I went through my clients and I looked at similar clients to figure out in the retail space, what is a purchase order typical size? What is an 846 typical size? Now that's only amongst my clients, so small and medium and some enterprise, to figure out what are we looking at when it comes to kilocharacters. How many other companies can say they've done that and they factored that and they can tell you what that average looks like? Again, it's not 100% correct by any means, but it gives you an understanding as to, if you're doing 5 documents, what do those kilocharacters look like if they're all purchase orders? What does it look like if you're dealing with invoices? What does it look like if you're dealing with ASNs? It's the average number. Take 10 companies, all of different sizes, and look at what those purchase orders look like. What's that size? Average it out. What I've done. I love numbers. If you haven't figured it out, I'm a data person, loving numbers. Anticipate your growth and your variability in usage. So do you fluctuate as the season goes on? Do you see other products coming onto the marketplace? Do you see other claims that you're going to be doing because all of a sudden now you're bringing on other insurance providers, or you're bringing on other staff members into your hospital, your facility, whatever it may be? Do you see that growing, or do you see it reducing? Because I actually had a client that was working with a service provider, and the service provider said, hey, guess what? This is what we're going to charge you monthly because this is what you average. Well, that average didn't make any sense to me, because that client over the year averaged throughout 12 months was $300 a month. This provider wanted to charge them $1,900 a month. Well, that's what I'm thinking you're going to grow into, because you told me about your growth plan. Listen, we haven't hit that growth plan yet. That growth plan may not finalize for 5 years. So why am I going to pay you $1,900 for the next 60 months to finally get to that stage? How about this? I'll pay you $500 a month and I'll suck up the overages. Now I factored in a decent percentage of growth to make up for that. But I'm not getting suckered into $1,900 a month. So these are things that, again, using somebody that knows what they're talking about and has been in it for a long time can help you out. Review the customer support. Evaluate their customer support level, evaluate talking to the provider, evaluate all of those things, whether you're going licensed or subscription. You need to evaluate what you're using and what you're bringing in, because it changes. You have to be careful in considering all of these factors when you're looking at licensed, subscription, any of those things, because licensed and subscription, it'll make sense for you as long as you have all of the information. If you don't have all the information, how are you going to ever make the right decision? Most people that I've seen that make a split decision is because their trading partner told them they should use this provider. Okay, I'm going to tell you, you have to drive a Kia. I don't care if you like it or you don't like it. That's what you're going to drive. As a father of 3 girls, I get to define what they drive, because guess what? Me and my wife pay for it. Me and my wife are the ones that are helping them for it. So we get to define that. It shouldn't be that way when it comes to picking your EDI. You shouldn't be letting somebody else define what you're going to do. They should be looking at your observations of everything that you got involved, figuring out what that's going to take, and how to get you into the right selection, the right criteria, all of those things. And you also need to calculate what's those implementation costs look like. What are those things that you're thinking of helping out and looking to grow and looking to, are you doing 5 trading partners, 10 trading partners? What are you looking for? So if you take all those things and you put all those things together and you're thinking about this, you should be able to come up with what I call a guesstimate on what is this going to cost you? What are you thinking this is going to look like? All of those things start to factor in. All of those things equal into you no longer being caught off guard for handling your system and the pricing, implementation, the software, the servers, the virtual servers, all of those things. So all of those things get factored in, they all get handled in, and that's the beauty of this, is putting it all together and not being shocked by the costs. So what I get to do now is I get to add in Lena, who is joining us to share some more insight in the pricing. Hey, Lena.
Hey, Jen.
How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Hey, we actually just got a question. Let me share that. So Terry, are you seeing any providers these days that do not honor van-to-van transfers? No, I'm not seeing any that don't honor it, but here's the thing that you got to understand. With a lot of your service providers, they are, quote unquote, their own van. So if you're dealing with, and I'm going to say the major ones, SPS or True Commerce, guess what? They have their own van service. Whether you know on the back end in their network, if it is truly their own van, or if they're leasing that van service or reselling a van service from somebody else that's existing. And therefore, you have to acquire multiple provider mailboxes. Again, it comes down to who you're utilizing for your service provider. But to switch and migrate from one van to another, if you're licensed, if it's licensed software and you can control what van you utilize, yes, all day long. You can set up multiple mailboxes. You can do a migration from one van to another. And I'm going to throw it in there. Here's a little pitch. If you're looking for van services and you are looking at your fees and the KCs and the rates are all crazy for you and you can't figure it all out because those numbers are all over the place, we offer a van service that we resell, because I'm totally transparent, for 5 cents a kilocharacter. No other fees, no monthlies, no low, like, hey, what is this going to cost me? No increases, none of that. Straight up 5 cents kilocharacter. If you have any questions, just reach out. So I'm going to let Lena take it from here and do her thing, because I love having others on this live session.
Hey, everyone. I'm Lena Puri-Peri. As you all know, I take care of all things marketing for EDI support, and couldn't have been a better time to do this. So Jim, let's go. So there's, I've been in the EDI space for quite some time now. It's been over 5 years. I've been working with Jim and other companies as well. There's one challenge that has persisted for far too long, is what I see, which is understanding and navigating the complexities of EDI pricing. And Jim, you explained it really nicely in detail about different EDI pricing models. So whether you're new to EDI or looking to move to a different EDI platform, the experience of waiting in line to get quotes from different EDI providers is daunting. I know we've all been there. So we figured in 2024, we better solve this problem. So ladies and gentlemen, we're thrilled to announce a revolutionary tool, our EDI calculator, that is set to define how we approach EDI pricing in our industry. This calculator is designed for people like you and me, who would go to an EDI provider's website to look for what their EDI platform would cost you, right? And think, gosh, just give me the damn pricing, right? Don't take me through, demos. Don't ask me to talk to a salesperson. I just need to know. I'm new to EDI. I have no idea what EDI is. I've been mandated to do EDI by my trading partner. What would it cost me, right? So let's show you what I'm talking about. Let me present my screen here.
So this is a culmination of a lot of conversations, a lot of years. We're not saying this is perfect by any means, and some people are going to be haters and some people are going to be like, oh, well, you're not sharing everything. You're not factoring in this. Well, guess what? We're giving you an estimate, guesstimate, whatever you want to look like, of what that platform is going to cost you with implementation or without a platform and implementation, or cloud, license, whatever you want it to be. So the beauty is we're trying to give you an understanding on pricing without you even reaching out to us. And if you want to have a conversation after seeing the pricing, reach out and we'll give you a hard defined number that we should be able to help you figure out. So, Lena, all yours.
Yeah. So this is our website, guys. I'm sure you guys have visited our website. You go to our pricing page, right? And so this is the calculator that we've been talking about. We factored in, with years of experience, Jim's experience and the team's experience, we factored in all different types of things like, which type of EDI software you're looking for, whether it's cloud-based, and it's pretty dynamic. If you see, you just have to answer simple questions and, which industry you operate in and how many trading partners, how many API connections, if you need API connections, and if you have an ERP, and if you need integrations. So you would see all different kinds of software here, ERP software here. And you can it's pretty dynamic. So you would see the pricing change, as you keep answering these questions. And you can basically email this guesstimate to yourself. And you would get a breakdown of all the costs, depending on tailored to your specific requirements, right? With years of experience, we understand that every business is unique and there could be a lot of constraints and requirements. And that's how, we've kept all those things in mind and designed this calculator. Do keep in mind that this is a guesstimate, as Jim has already mentioned. You can always reach out to our EDI experts, book a free consultation, and to get an accurate quote. But this will, if you're new to EDI, this will give you a good idea. Or, even if you're looking to move to a different EDI platform, it'll give you a good idea about what could an estimate look like. And you can compare this with other quotes. So, no more standing in the line, waiting in the queue for getting quotes. Well, you can. I mean, of course, when you have to compare quotes from different EDI providers, you can. But this would keep your thoughts going, right? This will give you a sense of what to look for in an EDI quote, what to talk about with other EDI providers, right? And of course, please go to our website, try it out. Yes, and we welcome your feedback, because we can't make it better without your inputs on the calculator.
100%. And this is literally a culmination of hundreds, if not thousands, of prospects, estimates, things that we've done over the years. So this is trying to give you everything that's up here when we're figuring out estimates and we're figuring out all those calculations of what factors go into it and making it simplified so that you can select what you're doing, and you can get as intricate as you want. But understand there's sometimes that you're going to have to talk to us. You're going to have to reach out because we can't factor in every single scenario that's out there in the world. But we can give you a broad overview of what you're looking at and what that price is typically going to be looking to do. And if you need it streamlined, reach out. I'll streamline it. I'll give you what we're thinking and what we're looking at. Because a lot of people have been going to our website, as Lena really knows. A lot of people go to our website. A lot of people look at these things and say, what's the pricing? What's EDI going to cost me? I don't want to talk to anybody. Stop bothering me. I don't want to talk to a salesperson. Well, now you can go to our site. You can take a look. Look at it. It's like you want to add one trading partner, non-integrated, which means it's not working with any back-end system. It's what we call a web EDI. Pull it up. Take a look at it. Play around with it. Give us suggestions. So, Lena, you and your team, great job with getting it. You know, we've pulled it together. It's out there. Now we're going to probably get a bunch of haters and people that don't like us.
And that's fine. That's totally fine.
Get in line. I know I'm not trying to be mean. Get in line. I don't have time for it. We got nothing but love. Today's Valentine's Day. You know, it's out there. It's available. Take a look at it. Hopefully you enjoy it. And if there's things that you think that maybe we should define or look at differently, share it with us. Let us know. You know, cool. So,
yep. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel and our LinkedIn page.
Yes.
For sure.
Because if you talk to me and I don't share how you came in, if you like this, if you commented or any of those things, Lena's going to come after me. Lena is my marketing guru all day long. I share that proudly that she has taken us to this level. She has gotten us out here on LinkedIn, YouTube, all of those different things. So we're here. Reach out. Have a great Valentine's Day. Enjoy it with your loved ones. And we'll see you next Wednesday.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Lena. Take care.
Happy Valentine's Day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.